If you identify as an empath, highly sensitive, or even a neurodivergent, chances are you've had moments when your body reacts before your mind can even explain why. Things like sudden nausea, anxiety that seems to come from nowhere, emotional heaviness that doesn't match what's actually happening in your life. Now, most people assume this must be mine, but today I want to offer you another option. This video isn't about dismissing your feelings or bypassing the emotions. It's about expanding the way we understand them, especially if you're someone whose nervous system, awareness, or sensitivity picks up more information than most people realise. I want to share a personal story that shows how easily we can own physical emotional experiences and when there are other possibilities worth considering. I want to share this with you because it also shows how real energy connection happens, and it doesn't end with childhood. Now, my father lives in an aged care facility. He has dementia. He's been there for 5.5 years, and over that time, yes, we've watched him decline. At Christmas, we decided that we would bring him home for family lunch, quietly, all of us really knowing that this could well be the last time that we get together all together. Christmas Day, it went beautifully. He spent a few hours with the family, then returned to the facility, the place that he'd been in, and that had been his home really, for 5.5 years. But for some strange reason, when he went back, he became confused, unsettled, and there was a fear in him that had never been there before. Now, the next day, I actually started to feel nauseous. It eased a little with food, and so I kind of brushed it off. I didn't think much of it. What I didn't know at the time was that my father had become increasingly anxious and agitated, as though he had no longer felt safe in the place that he had actually become familiar with. Over the following couple of days, the nausea stayed with me, and without either of us knowing why, my mother was experiencing the same thing. Now, meanwhile, my father had become more disorientated and began refusing his medication, which of course meant that he was sitting in a lot of pain. And given a day or two, I had this strong urge that I needed to go and see him. The staff hadn't let us know that this was going on. Now, I was still nauseated, and I nearly used the nausea as a reason not to go. I assumed it was my own fear of seeing him suffer, fear of the heartbreak, and I went anyway. When I arrived, I found him sitting alone in significant pain, distressed, and really not well. A nurse saw me as I was heading to find her, and she was visibly relieved. She explained that he hadn't been taking his medication and that the doctor wanted to see me. That conversation, fortunately, led to a change in medication, and he received what he needed. I was so relieved. After that, I rang my mum. Before I could even update her, she told me she'd been nauseated for days and didn't know why. I asked her to place energetic mirrors around herself, and then I explained everything that had been happening since Christmas Day with Dad. As she started to strengthen her energy filters, she started to feel better. I stayed with Dad for a few hours, supporting him and working with the staff to make sure that he was comfortable. And when I left, I rang my mum again. She told me that she'd been feeling significantly better. Then she asked the question that really matters here. She said, "How is that possible after all these years apart?" Now, just to fill you in, my parents had been separated for 50 years, but they made a commitment to stay friends, and they really did. That bond of care and connection never disappeared. And because that energetic connection was still alive, it didn't require awareness or intention to be affected, affecting all of us. As my father's pain eased, the nausea across the rest of us eased too. Even though none of us consciously knew what was happening at the time, our bodies were responding through connection. And even me, someone who understands this deeply, missed asking the most important question of the moment. Who does this belong to? This is where it matters deeply for empaths, highly sensitives, and many neurodivergent nervous systems. When you feel something strongly, your system is wired to experience first and analyse later. So the default assumption becomes, this is mine. But what if sometimes it isn't? What if your body is responding to information coming through connection, not pathology, not weakness, and not dysfunction? Highly sensitive systems don't just process thoughts. They process environments, people, emotional fields, and unspoken states. And without awareness, we automatically personalise the experience. This is the shift I want to offer you. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what else could this be? Instead of assuming I'm anxious, try, is this mine, or am I connected to something or someone else? Every time we unconsciously own something that doesn't belong to us, we write the next part of our life script. And that script plays out over days, weeks, or even years. This is exactly what our children are doing, but adults do it too. We are just better at justifying it, which is actually detrimental. This isn't about disconnecting. Connection is human. It's about awareness within connection. Because once you realise there are other options for how you interpret what you're feeling, you gain choice. And choice changes everything. For you, for the children who are learning from you how to relate to your inner world. If this perspective resonates and you're starting to see yourself or your child differently, I invite you to come and join me on my Skool community. It's where I teach awareness, filtering, and practical ways to live with sensitivity without the overwhelm. May today be better than your yesterday, and use today to make a better tomorrow.